Welcome everyone to the session on updating objects in React State. So today we're going to look into the best practices and techniques to ensure your React State management is robust and efficient. Here is a brief introduction to state in React. So state in React is a powerful feature that allows our component to be dynamic and responsive. It can basically hold any JavaScript value, including objects, which is what we're going to focus on today. Understanding how to manage object in state is crucial for building complex and interactive applications. Why immutability matters. Immutability means once a data structure is created, it cannot be changed. So in React, treating state as immutable leads to predictable data flow, easier debugging, and optimized performance. Thus, when we update state, we should always replace it with a new object instead of modifying the existing ones. A direct mutation, a common mistake. So a common mistake is directly mutating the state object. This might seem straightforward, but can lead to issues where React does not detect the change, resulting in no re-render. It's like changing a book's content without changing its version number. The system simply won't recognize the update. So if you look at this example, we have a counter component, and counter component uses use state hook from React and create a new state variable. And we have we are displaying count value, and we have this button component, and in the onClick handler, we are directly mutating the count object's value by incrementing 1. And this is not what you want to do. Correct way to update objects. So the correct way to update an object in state is to create a new object with the changes and then set this new object as the state. This ensures that React detects the change and updates the components. So we always need to use the set state function or hook equivalent to update our state. So let's compare. Here we have everything else the same except our onClick handler increment. So in increment, we can see that we are using spread operator to create a new object with a change in value. So we talked about spread syntax. So the suppress syntax is a convenient way to copy properties from one object to another. When updating state, we can use this syntax to create a new object with the updated values, making sure that we're not mutating the original state. So this is another example showing how we can use spread syntax to update our state object effectively. So here we have an object, JavaScript object that has name and age property. And if we have a button to increase age, we will have a update age handler, and there we will update state by using spread syntax to create copy of the existing user, and then we'll for that new object that we create, the age will increment by 1. So user age will be 31. Updating nested objects. So updating nested objects can be tricky, as we need to ensure that we copy each level of the object to avoid mutation. So you can see here's the demonstration of the correct approach to update nested object, where we create new copies at each level to ensure immutability. So here's user address component. In user address component, we create state. We have object that contains name and address property, and inside address property, we have another JavaScript object that contains city and country property. So if we want to update city, then we will have to use spread syntax for each level. So for the outer level, we'll use spread syntax to create a copy of user object. And then for that copy of user object, we will provide a custom value of address, which is creating a copy of user address object, but with a modification of city being Los Angeles instead of New York. Immer for simplicity. So Immer is a library that helps you deal with immutable data in JavaScript. It allows us to write code as if we are directly mutating the state while internally managing these changes to ensure immutability. So it is particularly handy for more complex state structure or when we're dealing with nested updates. So let's look at this user address component again. This time we can see that we're using Immer library and we're importing use Immer. So when we are creating state, we are using Immer to create the same user object. And then when we update city, all we need to do is call this set user that was created from use Immer hook. Then we only need to the syntax is a lot simpler because it looks like we're just directly mutating, but it is safe. We'll definitely go more into detail on Immer in a different lecture. Local mutation versus state mutation. So it is important to distinguish between local and state mutation. Local mutation refers to modifying a new object before it's set as state, which is completely fine since it does not affect state directly. However, mutating the state itself can lead to unpredictable behavior and should be avoided. Benefits of immutable state management. So immutable state management in React brings several benefits, including easier debugging, performance optimization, and the ability to leverage future React features. And it also lays solid foundation for features like undo, redo, time travel, or resetting forms to initial values. Best practice recap. To recap, always treat state as immutable, use the set state function or use state hook for updates, and make sure you leverage spread syntax or use library like Immer for more complex update to ensure that you're creating new objects to avoid direct mutation. Thank you, everyone.